Good morning, Jamie Farr. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning to you, sir.
And Rejean.
Yes, Cournoyer.
Cournoyer,
yeah.
Cournoyer. You know, I said that this morning because there was a sulky driver named Cournoyer, but it just it's not spelled like Cournoyer. It's like a Cournoyer.
Oh yeah,
but
that's how
Cournoyer.
it's Yep, it's French Canadian.
All right, yeah, and so was this fella. And what was his name? It wasn't Rejean, right?
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. So
you know, I never asked you this. I've been working with Rejean now for a good year.
Yeah.
And in English, does Rejean mean something? I mean, because Rejean is obviously French. What is it?
Right.
Is it
well,
have a counter?
my father's name is Jean.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm sort of a remake of Jean. So they call me Rejean.
Yeah, so it's like Macduff or something, son of, you know, so it's Rejean. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I'm sorry I asked that question.
There you go. I'll teach you.
Yeah.
So a little repeat of his dad here. All right. Now, you guys are, so you've been working together for a year?
Yep, year.
Over a year, Jamie. I think it's more like a year and a half.
Is that right? And doing this particular play?
Doing that show, yes.
All right. Tuesdays with Morrie. I read the book.
Yes.
Made me cry.
The play is very similar to the book.
All right. Someone told me, though, that they took some of the sadness out of it.
Well, what I'm trying to say to you is that the way Mitch Albom put it together, Rejean plays Mitch Albom, so he's the storyteller.
Yeah.
The nice part about it is that Rejean and I do not play the ending of the show, which is when Morrie passes away.
Okay,
we play the journey that the two people have, but with comedy, because there's a lot of funny lines. Morrie was a very, very funny man. And so we got to learn how to do that. It's tough because all actors want to go, where's the meaty part, you know, it's, where's the drug scene, the alcoholic scene, the scene where I, you know, faint and I go on in these rants and so forth. Yeah. And in this show, we don't do that. We play the comedy, the humor that the two characters have.
All right, yeah. No, I'm kind of glad to hear that, right? But,
well, we don't want to turn people off because there were a lot of people that said, I can't go see this show because they have relatives that have ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and they didn't want to see it. They didn't want to be reminded. Yeah. And then we've had some people come to see the show. Rejean will tell you a story. Was that in Calgary with that young boy when you were outside?
That was Edmonton, actually.
Is it Edmonton?
Yeah, sort of this young ruffian kind of looking. I was outside just sort of getting my head together before the show one day, and he said, do you work here? And I said, yeah, and sort of started talking, and oh, you're an actor in the show. Well, I'm here with my mom and my grandma and my sister, and, you know, 15, 16 years old, and, you know, not normally somebody who you'd expect to see at a play.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, talking to him and realized that his grandfather had just recently passed away from Lou Gehrig's disease, and so they all came with the grandmother to see the show. And so I said, I know Jamie, he's such a wonderful guy, he'd love to meet you after the show, so come on back here after. And we'll all say hello, and so that's what we did.
He brought his mom and his sister. Thoroughly enjoyed the show.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you.
And it did remind them, but they did laugh during the funny moments.
Yeah, right. Right. Now you're a very funny guy, right? You know.
Well, I've been known to quip here and there. Yes, I don't have to say lines. Just look at me. I'm a sidekick.
Now I'll tell you what. Being a fellow Buckeye, I'm looking at the hair that you have there, and I've still got my hair, and I'm like, oh, thank you. So
you know what a Buckeye is, right?
I do indeed.
What is it?
It's a horse chestnut.
No, it's a worthless nut. That's what a Buckeye is. A worthless nut. We used to make rings out of it, remember? Bracelets to give your girlfriend.
Throw them in the fire?
Yeah, exactly.
Throw them in the fire?
Yeah, they look like a chestnut. And, something like that, but it has no value at all. What was the ones where didn't they have like some kind of thing that looked like a cigar that grew from some of those trees, and when you're a kid and you thought you might want to try smoking, they used to dry those out and smoke them. It was awful. It was terrible. It really got sick.
we used to try corn silk.
Yeah, corn silk.
I mean, my dad had a farm, and we raised corn and soybeans.
Yeah, you know, because I'm from Toledo. I think we played Norwalk. That's where you're from a couple of times. I believe so. Yeah, basketball, I think.
Yeah.
Toledo Woodward had a
good
basketball.
You probably killed us.
Not anymore. I tell you, poor Toledo Woodward, they don't have much of any kind of sports programs that are winning.
All right. Now you were in this popular show. What was the Korean thing?
I'll think of it later. It's okay.
It was some initials.
Hash.
Yeah, that was it. It was
no, actually, you want to know? After all these years, I'm going to call it Cash.
Oh, good for
that
you.
Works out. Yeah, better. That's a better 4-letter word.
Good for you.
Yeah.
How much leeway did you have in there? Because I know there were an awful lot of funny lines that you did. And were those all written for you?
Yeah, most of those, all of them were really written.
Yeah.
What we did is we'd have a reading on a Monday. We'd go through the script. And after reading through it, Gene Reynolds, our producer, would say, okay, we're going to go page by page. Anyone has any objections or additions or something to it, bring it up now. We had the writers there. And so we'd say, well, you know, I may not have said this as my character. Could I give this to Father Mulcahy instead or something? Which was unusual because, you know, actors' egos, they're not going to give lines away.
Yeah, right.
But that's the kind of gang we had. And then and we'd say, hey, maybe we can make this line a little funnier or something like that. And they'd go along with us. Mm-hmm. There were 2 shows that we did that were totally ad-lib. One was the one when Clete Roberts came, the black and white one, where he came to interview us, which was what I'm trying to think of the Edward R. Murrow did when he went to Korea.
Yeah.
And Larry Yelbert came to us before we were going to shoot that show, and he interviewed us with a tape recorder as our characters, not the actors, but the characters. And he'd ask us questions. And then he'd write all that down, and he'd make a transcript of it. And then when Clete Roberts came in, we tried to replicate what we had said, ad-libbing.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and it was done in black and white. Then there was another one that was done where I'm the projectionist in the mess tent, and we're running a movie, and the film keeps breaking. So while I'm trying to repair the film, everybody gets up and does something. And that was a totally ad-lib show. Also, yeah, we just had
the entire episode.
Yeah, the entire episode was, yeah. So those were the 2 that.
Very
cool.
cool.
The rest of the time, it was all written and staged, and we did everything they asked us to.
That's pretty interesting. Are these available on DVD now? Because I know
Sure.
you're doing
You can. Yeah, sure. They got a great box set. The entire 11 years with outtakes and some of the documentaries that were done with us.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Now, also, you were on the Gong Show.
Yeah.
Now,
You want to make something out of it?
Yeah, I do. And I do. We can arm wrestle if you like. But the Gong Show was. I used to take my lunch hour and go home and watch the Gong Show, and not for the supposed talent that was on there.
Oh, there wasn't any talent, including the panel. The panel didn't have any talent either. I don't know. That show, well, you know, I'll tell you, I was up in San Francisco when they were selling MASH in syndication, and everybody up there was talking about this new show coming out called The Gong Show. It was with Gary Owens. It was in syndication. Yeah. I said, what the heck is The Gong Show? So it was purchased, though, for network by NBC. And I'm trying to, John Barber. John Barber was the host of the show. Gary Owens had the syndicated show, and John Barber, I think That's Incredible, was one of the shows that he had hosted at one time. And the very first contestant, the very first panel that was on was Joanne Worley, Jack Cassidy, and me. And they had the band, the guys in the band, and they were all dressed in like carny outfits with the straw hats and striped jackets and everything else. And C.V. Auberg, who was the beautiful model that came out, and they had Jerry, the little fella that came out. So we were just dressed regularly on the show. Okay. And when they'd bring out these awful talents that they'd have, we try to do something, and they go, well, you can't do that. Standards and practices won't let you do this. And it just wasn't going anywhere. Yeah. So, and then John Barber, he was looking for the next Mario Lanza, you know, and it ain't going to be found on the panel or in the audience or on that stage. So Chuck comes in. We had a lunch break, and Chuck comes in to me. He's producing the show. He said, "JB, what's wrong with this show?" I said, "Well, Chuck," I said, "you got to make it like a party, you know. We can't keep saying, okay, take dance lessons." I said, we on the panel are not producers. We're fellow performers. You know, we've been gonged ourselves in our lives. So I said, let us have some fun with the show. And I said, you know, take the guys, the band guys, get them out of the carny outfits. I said, I always remember that if you have garbage, wrap it in a beautiful package, make it look like a gift. I said, put the guys in tuxedos. The panel, I said, all the men, we should be in tuxedos. The females should be in a beautiful evening gown. Yeah. C.D. Auberg should come out, you know, gorgeous looking, and Jerry in a tuxedo and a top hat and that. And I said, for some guy cracking eggs on his head, you know. So he said, yeah, that. Well, John Barber never got it when we tried to do that. So Chuck finally decided to take over.
Well, Chuck's crazy, right?
Well, he is crazy, yeah. And so that's why he hired us. I wouldn't have been on there if he wasn't crazy. So anyway, Chuck came on. But actually, the one you mentioned was J.P. Morgan and Artie Johnson and I. We were their favorites. But we did this on the show one time. John Dorsey, he was the director. And you know how Chuck used to come out and clap his hands and point and read the cue cards and everything. So one show, we did 5 in a day. So one show, Hardy and JP and I said, you know, I'm sick of this guy doing with the clapping and the thing. Let's take over the show. Now, Chuck didn't know this. So he's starting to read it, and we get up from the panel, you know, and we grab him. And he doesn't know what's going on. And John Dorsey, the director, is still and taping us. And we take him, we drag him backstage and gotten some duct tape, and we got a rope, and we tied him up backstage, put the duct tape on him, and then we took over the show. And we clapped, you know, Artie would do something, JP and I, and then John would cut back to see Chuck trying to get out of the ropes and get the, it was the silliest damn. And the ending of the show is Chuck still tied up, and what happens, Artie's gone crazy, so when they come back from commercial, JP and I are tied up on a chair with duct tape on it, and Artie closes the show. Strictly spontaneous, and Chuck let us do it. Totally got away with it. Silly, isn't that stupid?
Yeah. But so much fun.
Yeah, it was.
Oh boy. Man. And Milton DeLugg was the
Milton DeLugg and the band. Yeah, Milton was. I don't know how far back you go, but Milton DeLugg was on the original Jerry Lester show. Broadway. I'm trying to think of what the name of it. Broadway Open House.
Oh, okay.
With Dagmar, and goes way back. Yeah, I used to watch it as a kid. Yeah, Milton was he was the man.
Yeah, I remember Dagmar as a kid.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Sure, that goes way back.
Oh man. Oh, great fun talking with you. Now, what? A Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday, and Sunday
is Tuesday with Morrie.
It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
It's always Tuesday with Morrie. I don't care what day it is. You're going to see Tuesday with Morrie on a Thursday. You'll see it on a Friday. You'll see 2 Tuesdays on a Saturday and 1 Tuesday on a Sunday. There you go.
Yeah. Now, so the true story.
Yes,
right?
it is. Yeah.
Mitch album. Actually,
Rejean plays Mitch.
Rejean plays Mitch, and you play Morrie.
Morrie Schwartz.
And the story is that Mitch was a college student of Morrie's.
That's right.
And didn't realize the value of his teachings until later, right?
Yes, and no. I think what happens is, that, of course, they have this friendship, this close friendship, while Mitch album is still quite young and in college.
Okay,
college for 4 years, and then life happens as it does.
Right.
And 16 years goes by, and he's lost touch with his old friend and professor until he sees an episode of Nightline, Ted Koppel, on television one night, where they're featuring Morrie Schwartz and ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yeah.
And so he decides to sort of call up his old professor and go and visit and say goodbye, essentially. But that one Tuesday visit turns into weekly visits over a period of the last few months of Morrie's life.
Thus the title, Tuesdays with Morrie.
That's right.
He went to see Morrie every Tuesday.
Yeah. Now, Mitch album, in the interim, of course, in these 16 years, had sort of forgot about what's important to him and in life.
All right.
And so he's able to sort of see the light, so to speak, and reprioritize and rekindle that sort of close friendship that he had with Morrie.
Have you met Mitch?
No, never have.
Really?
But I know that Mitch has been in touch with Jamie in the last year.
Yeah, I never met him either. I've spoken to him on the telephone a
Over
couple
our
times,
show
yeah.
because he's read some good reviews and he's heard that we've got a hit on our hands, and so he did reach out to Jamie.
Would you want to meet him, or are you already established in what you're doing? Do you think it might change the way that you approach him in your performance?
I don't think it would if I met him. No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No, I think it's all in the dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the dialogue sends you in the direction, so
All right.
I don't think you need, because he's not doing an impersonation. It's not like
Right.
somebody that's so famous that you would say, oh, well, that's not that person.
Yeah.
It's like Michelle Williams in A Week with Marilyn, My Week with Marilyn, and playing somebody that everybody knows, Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
So Mitch Albom is really just a sports figure, a sports writer, and a radio personality.
All right. Very cool. All right. Owens Auditorium at Sand Hills Community College. It's out on Airport Road, Thursday through Sunday. Thursday and Friday at 8. Saturday at 2 and 8. Sunday at 3. You can get tickets online at judsontheater.com. You can phone 800-514-ETIX, ETIX, which I guess is electronic tickets, or you can get tickets at the door. And I encourage everyone to go out there and see this and get a look at you, both of you fellas live.
Thank you.
And you're looking pretty good. I like that hair.
Well, thank you.
I'm crossing my fingers that it's a Northern Ohio thing. you
Yeah, it
know?
might be Northern Ohio. It's the water. It's the Maumee River that we have there. that Lake Erie where you could walk on it. You know, there's so much pollution
Yeah, remember
there.
they used to set the river on fire in
Yeah,
Cleveland?
you could set
No.
Yeah, it
No,
was so
now,
bad.
Yeah,
Truly?
the kids used to go down and set the river on fire. It was the
Like-
Cuyahoga River in
yeah.
Cleveland. And, well, they cleaned that up quite a bit.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All right. Rejean, Cournoyer.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thanks, man.
Nice job. Thank you.
Oh, it's good to see you. And Jamie Farr, boy,
Pleasure.
what a pleasure to meet you.
Same
All
here.
right.
Thank you.